Syngenta Canada and C&M Seeds present the Wheat School on realagriculture.com.
Okay, realagriculture.com is here with Richard Marsh. We're at the Syngenta farm just south of Portage la Prairie, Manitoba. We are talking early season leaf disease. Richard, we were just speaking about sort of how farmers should maybe be setting themselves up. What should they be scouting for? What sort of decisions are coming into play now?
There's lots of things to think about, and they change every year as we have different weather, and of course they change across the prairies depending on where you're located at. But I guess the general objective of a good fungicide program, Lindsay, is to try and keep the flag leaf and the penultimate leaf as clean for as long as possible. So that's what we're trying to do, and there's some things you can probably do at the start of the year to help set yourself up to keep that flag leaf nice and clean, because that's where most of our yield is generated off those top two leaves of the wheat plant. So what you can do is go back to the old disease triangle, and that can give us a lot of lessons on what we can be doing at this time of the year. And we know that disease really depends on, the onset of disease depends on three things. You need to have a host, so you need to know your variety characteristics. Which diseases does it have tolerance to, and which ones does it not have tolerance to? So is it a good tan spot, septoria, rust wheat? We also need to have the disease present before you spray for it as well. You know, if there's no tan spot in the area, last year was fairly dry, not a lot of tan spot around, so maybe you won't have to spray for tan spot. This year, with a cool, wet year with lots of rains here in Manitoba, tan spot is already showing up on the second and third leaves of the wheat. And then of course the environment is the third part of the disease triangle. And if you can see that you've got some wet weather coming or humid, then it would make you realize that the disease might be moving up the plant, so you should make a decision whether to spray or not. Now I know that some farmers are in a fusarium area, so they are planning not to go back at the flag leaf timing with fungicide. So if you're one of those guys who are not going back at the flag leaf, you probably want to do everything you can at an early stage to hold the disease down on the lower leaves of the plant, so it doesn't move up as quickly to the flag leaf and the penultimate leaf later in the season. So what you can do in that case is, when you're coming out to spray your herbicide, do a real evaluation of the field that you're going into. What resistance does the variety have to tan spot and septoria? What's the weather looking like? And then look at the plants. Go and do a scout with you and your agronomist and take a look. And we can take a look here. We just came up to these plots here, and it didn't take us more than 5 seconds, hey, to see some early season tan spots. If you want, we could just run over there and grab the plant out and take a look at the tan spot there, so guys can see what they're looking at.
Sure, let's do that.
Yep. You see this?
Yep, there we go.
We've got some spotting coming on the lower leaves here. Actually, it shows up better on this side. You see the tan spot that's coming with the yellow halo around it, so you know it's going to be a disease and not some mechanical damage. This spot here, it's probably too soon to tell whether that's actually going to be a tan spot or not, but we can see that a lot of these plants here are getting them on the lower leaves, and it's not surprising because we've had a lot of small showers go through, and tan spot spreads from the soil and the stubble up onto the plant. So if you had a lot of plants in this stage, and we're looking like we're going to have more rain, and you think you're not going to spray at flag leaf, this might be a candidate to go in and use some fungicide, half-rate fungicide with your herbicide. If you were, on the other hand, have a variety that seemed to have better tolerance to tan spot, and there was very little here so far, and you were going to come back in at the flag leaf, you're planning to come in at the flag leaf, that might be an opportunity to save an application of fungicide and save it for flag leaf timing. So like I say, strategies are different in every field, in every area, and we just can't say you should do this, you should do that as a general statement. Every field should be looked at a little bit differently. Depends on the rotation, depends on the variety, depends on the weather, depends on your future plans for fungicide app.
Now, if let's say the weather's quite conducive and you're seeing, let's say, this level that you showed us of tan spot, how quickly can that spread? Let's say if conditions are favorable.
Conditions are favorable. It can follow. It'll follow every new leaf until it gets warmer, then the tan spot would slow down. But yeah, it can basically follow within a week of a new leaf coming out, the tan spot will move on up with the splashing effect. So you've really got to think about that, because like I said, we want to keep those top two. Our ultimate goal is to keep those top two leaves as clean for as long as possible. So if it's following the leaves up the plant, that means your flag leaf timing has to be right on time. And we know that it's so hard to do everything bang on time because our sprayers are so busy, and Mother Nature doesn't always cooperate for our spray timings, does it?
No, she doesn't.
No.
All right. Okay, thanks, Richard.
You're welcome.